Welcome to the section about health and safety management systems. What is a management system? A management system can be defined as a set of interrelated, interconnected, or interacting elements of an organization that are involved in establishing the structure in the organization, the roles and responsibility of people in that organization. It establishes the planning processes, the operation and the operational discipline. It establishes the policies in that organization, the rules, helps to set the objectives, and it also creates the processes that helps to achieve these objectives that we have set. Quite a mouthful. Now, the management system will address either a single or a multiple discipline, like quality management system or personnel management or financial management or environmental management. But all these different management systems in an organization all work together to make the organization successful. A management system is not a set of papers. It's not a piece of computer software. It's a combination of the people, the documentation, the policies, the software, everything that works together interactively to achieve the goals and objectives of this organization in the specific discipline that we are managing. A health and safety management system is that part of the business management system that is specifically concerned with managing the occupational health and safety risks of an organization. I want to introduce you to a guy by the name of Mr. W. Edwards Deming. Mr. Edwards Deming was the father of the concept of Plan, Do, Check, Act. And he said that business processes should be analyzed and measured to identify sources of variations that will cause products to deviate from the customer requirements. So he was like the father of quality assurance and management systems. And he said that business management processes should be put in a continuous feedback loop so that managers, when you plan something and you do something, you can check if it's doing the right things, if it's achieving the right results, and you act to correct whatever you need to do. And this is what he was the father of. The Deming cycle. Plan, Do, Check, Act. Now all the ISO standards are managed on this, and most management systems still work on this business of Plan, Do, Check, Act. Plan means that you need to understand where does this organization work? What does it do? How big is it? How many people does it have? What skills does it have? How much money does it have? What does it want to achieve? What is the purpose of this organization? That's what we call the context. And then the objectives, and then plans to reach the objectives within the scope of the context of this organization. So planning is about understanding your organization, knowing where you want to go to, knowing what obstacles are in your way, knowing what resources you have, and the plan that you put together to reach the objectives that you've set for yourself. The do part of the Deming cycle is where I actually go out and I do as I was planning to do. So here I execute my plan. While I'm executing my plan, I then check, and I need to see whether my plan was suitable. Are my resources sufficient? Is what I am doing, is that achieving what I plan to do? Am I achieving more? Am I achieving less? And I should ask myself, is my plan suitable and is my implementation suitable? Depending on the answers, I must then act, and I should take actions. And those actions can be either changing the plan, so that the plan is better and more suited to what I want to achieve, or I need to adjust the way that I am implementing the plan. Sometimes I can have a bad plan that I'm implementing perfectly and I'm not achieving my objectives. Sometimes I have a good plan, but I'm not implementing it properly, and therefore I am also not achieving my objectives. So the checking phase helps me to verify which one of these, or maybe both of them, I need to adjust, and acting means adjusting these plan, do, check processes so that I can then change my path so that I can reach my objectives. Now, it's not a simple process of just plan, do, check. There's a lot of planning that we do. We plan little bits, and the little bits all make up a bigger part of the organization, and the bigger parts all come together into the whole goal of the organization. So it's like a wheel in a wheel. Every day that you get up, the planning that you do works into the plan for the week, and the plan for the work works into the plan for the month, and so on for the year, and so on for 10 years. So this plan, do, check, act cycle is not just a single process. There are little wheels and little things happening all the time that makes up the big machinery of your organization. One of the things that we have to do, though, to make sure that we progress and we don't come back, we don't regress, go backwards, is we need to standardize. So once I've learned that this plan is good and my implementation is good and this is supporting me in achieving my goals, I need to say, well, this is now the new minimum standard. This is the new minimum way of doing what I need to do. And I then set those standards, and that's what we do until we find a new, better, more improved, more successful way of doing things. So that's the process of standardization, and the standard, as you can see in this picture, serves as a chalk, serves as a sprag to make sure that we don't roll back in our progress. Now, a basic health and safety management system, we've already touched on it where we start. It starts with a context. I need to know, what am I trying to achieve? Where is my organization working? What kind of services am I trying to deliver? Who makes up the crew in my organization? Who's the boss? Are the employees? Who are my clients? Who are my suppliers? Why am I running this business? How am I running this business? And when do I want to achieve these things, these goals that I've set for myself? So those are all the context. It gives me the background of my organization so that I know what I am, where I am. If I don't understand my context, it's very difficult to do the next stage, which is the legal risk assessment and the legal requirements and the risk assessment part. So I need to have a good plan about a good idea around my organization. Now, if I'm going to establish an organization, it doesn't help if I have those beliefs and those values in my head, especially if I'm going to employ employees and they have to share those values. They have to agree with the values. I might need those values to be able to sell to my clients. So I need to set up policies, and a health and safety policy is one of them. This is where I write down my beliefs around this discipline that I want to manage. And it should include, for instance, that I believe that all incidents are preventable. We will provide PPE, we will stay with the law, and so on. Those policies, that policy and those values and those beliefs need to be demonstrated. You should walk the talk is the term that we use. So if you are going to be an honest man, you can't be seen, or you don't want to be involved in corrupt items. If you believe that health and safety is important, you are not going to put your life and other people's life at risk in order to make money. Those are examples. Now, I know what my organization is, what I want to achieve. I have made my statement of beliefs, and now I need a plan. I need a plan on how I'm going to roll out my product, how I'm going to service my clients. And that plan needs to be, at a minimum, it needs to be legal, and I need to make sure that it's an achievable plan where I'm not going to burn my fingers and run into trouble. So the first thing that we do is, for the context of my organization, for my kind of business where I want to work, I have to identify the legal requirements that's applicable to my organization. Now, first would be the business requirements of registering for a legal business and tax registration and all of those items. Then comes the labor regulations and the labor laws. Then we are talking about the Occupational Health and Safety Act. But I might also be involved with hazardous materials. I might be doing construction work. I might be doing advertising. I might be doing things that will harm the environment. I need to go and look at all the legislation, every law from the Constitution down to the last regulation and the municipal bylaw. What may I do and what may I not do, so that I don't have a scrapyard in the back of my yard in the middle of town and it's illegal, and then they come and close my business down, tow away all my scrap vehicles. I need to also look at the contractual requirements for the people that I want to work, because they may set other requirements in addition to the law that I need to comply with in contractual terms. I also need to do a complete risk assessment, like we've covered in one of the other modules already, for all the processes and all the tasks and all the products that I want to deliver. What results from that is a risk register and a legal register that will lay down the minimum requirements that you need to comply with to operate your operation in a healthy and safe way. The next stage is implementing this plan. That means I have to buy the right equipment. I have to appoint the right people. I have to structure them so that there's a communication line and everybody knows what their responsibilities are. I have to train them so that they are competent in what they are doing and aware of the risks that they are exposed to. I need documentation, IDs, appointment letters, contracts. I may need to write standard operating procedures. I need to write schedules and plans. I may need to have checklists and records for equipment that I have, that I'm using. I need to keep record of inspections and meetings and minutes of meetings, hazard identification as we go along. All of those form part of the implementation stage. I need to provide the right tools and equipment for my people to work with so that they can work safely. I need to pay them. I need to provide them proper facilities. I need to provide the right PPE. I need to give supervision so that they follow the rules. I also need to plan for emergencies, because no plan is perfect, and we have to plan for when things go wrong so that that incident doesn't mitigate, so that if a guy cuts his hand, he doesn't die because of infection, or he doesn't bleed to death, but he gets to the hospital and it doesn't get any worse than just cutting off his hand. It's a very severe accident. It doesn't help to just have a plan and to implement the plan. I have to go and check if that plan is working. I need to check if the plan was suitable to achieve the goal, and I also need to make sure that the plan is being implemented by whoever is implementing it to achieve the goal. And therefore I need to do a lot of inspections, audits. If something goes wrong, I need to do incident reporting. I need to investigate the incidents. I need to analyze and report my records. So if I have inspection sheets, I need to see if there are certain trends, that certain equipment breaks more often than other if these things are actually getting fixed, and that whatever I'm doing is working. And if it doesn't work, I have to apply corrective and preventative actions. I have to either go back and improve the plan, or I have to go back and change my policy statement, or I may even have to go back and change the implementation of the plan. It doesn't matter where the deviation is, I need to go back to the source and I need to go and fix that. And then, once I fix the plan, I implement again and I check again if the implementation is working. If it's not working as I wanted, I go back and I fix either the plan or the implementation. And so we are going around and around all the time until we achieve our objectives. Now, from time to time, I need to sit back and I need to look at how things are going. All this forwards and backwards between the plan and implementation and checking, is it delivering the results that I want? If it is delivering the results, I should be asking, what am I doing that is working? Because I must be doing more of that. And if the things are not so great, if the results are not getting achieved, I should be asking, where am I going wrong? So that I can fix it and I can have more success. And we start again at context, policy statements, and it goes around and around. Now, there's an international standard for health and safety management systems called ISO 45000. You don't need to have a management system that conforms to the requirements of ISO 45000. But ISO 45000 gives us very good guidelines of the best practices in health and safety management systems so that we can apply them. You don't need to get certified against ISO 45000. You can just take the knowledge contained in the standard and apply it. I'm not going to go through all the clauses because we are not currently looking at building management systems which are 45000 compliant. We just want to get the basic systems in place. And what the basic system needs to achieve is what you've already seen in another module. If you apply that plan, do, check, act process, and you start with your project and your overall risk assessment, and you have a risk profile, both a legal risk as well as an operational risk, and you start managing, eating the elephant little bit by little bit, looking at the high risk items first, putting controls and measures in place, reducing those, getting them in control, then you move on to the next one, and so on until you get this whole management system running well and your business tame and kept in check and in order. What we want with a management system, when we start addressing these risks and we start making informed decisions, because we are looking ahead and we are looking what possible obstacles are lying in our path that may stop us from achieving our objectives, and then we make plans to overcome those obstacles, that increases the certainty that we will reach our goals. The more certain we are, and as we go along and we see that our plans are working, that will create confidence in us. As we create more confidence, our business becomes stronger and our beliefs that we can do it become stronger. And that creates growth in our organization. And as we are growing and our organization becomes bigger and the cash flow becomes more secure and our people become more competent and we are less exposed to uncertainty, we get increased certainty, which again leads to confidence, strength, growth, and so on. Good risk management, both legal risk, legal exposure management, as well as occupational health and safety risk management, is really the key for continued business success.